Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
And that was not the best air drumming I've ever done.
Also not the worst, can confirm.
Yeah, sometimes I'm on it. I like ta, 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 ta. I don't know. This is where my ride cymbal is. And I'm playing kind of high up on the ride. Yeah.
Man, you're just getting straight to the heart of where my headspace was at this week. I'm really gassing for a drum set right now.
Nice.
I've just been so cooped up at this point. I'm like, I know that everyone's home. It's not like I can drum during the day while everyone's at work. And at this point, I don't care. I just, part of me wants to just go and get a really solid kit, throw it in the garage, and get a space heater and just like call the cops. I dare you.
I mean, they make those quieter drum kits. I've seen them. I was very briefly in a band where we rehearsed, and the drum kit was one of those weird quiet ones.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely make them. It's not quite as gratifying to be like, you feel like you're gonna get a boom when you really get.
It's probably really good exercise too.
Depends. I don't know.
I mean, you said you play real hard, so.
Oh yeah,
It's still movement.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely a lot more movement than I typically get in my day to day. Sort of. That's actually changed. What you can't see just off camera is I have my road bicycle right here.
Have you been using that thing?
I have.
Do you like it?
Now, you might think to yourself, well, why does Andrew have a road bicycle in his office space? There are no roads in there. And you would be correct in saying that. However, what you do not know, and what you're about to know, is that the back wheel is propped up off the ground in some sort of a clamp maneuver situation.
It's called a bicycle trainer.
Yes.
Just so you know.
I keep forgetting that that's what it's called, and it just seems so much more fantastical to describe it because I love the concept. No, like I actually get a crack out of it. So the back I've got like this industrial like claw thing that's lifted it up off the ground, which is amazing because it stays that way even after I get my fat ass on there. And then it's got like a magnetic resistance thing where when the tire spins and there's like magnetic resistance to simulate. Like this is, and of course on the other end of the bike I've got 2 beach towels to prop the other end up because apparently you can buy like a nice fancy foam block or whatever. I'm like, nah.
If anything, just so you know, it will wear down that back tire a lot faster. But also, I have a question for you about that. Is yours really loud? Because when I had one, it was really loud.
This one's not.
Good.
I've been scared to look up the price tag on this. A buddy of mine who's yeah, so I've got a buddy who's in the biking wheeled sport industry who's like, I'll just send this one. You just want one? I'll lend it to you. And I was like, okay, sure. Like, let me pay for shipping. He's like, no. I'm like, okay. So when do you want this back? He's like, I don't know. So he's lending it to me, and I'm sure I'll give it back in like 5 years.
Yeah, I think it's that kind of thing. Like a long-term lend essentially means like, just don't sell it. Just give it back to me if you want to get rid of it. Just don't sell it. Because I do that for like pedals and stuff. I'm like, you can have this as long as you want, but if you want to get rid of it, you need to give it back to me. You can't sell it or give it to somebody else. Like, because it's still mine, but it's a long-term loaner.
It feels like such an adult thing. I'm like, so you like in college, everyone's like, because if you let something go in college, you're never getting it back. And I feel like I'm still haven't like progressed from that mindset of like I can actually lend things to people and expect to get them back.
Yeah, I wonder if my ex-boyfriend still has my area rug and my chair that I was very proud of buying. I miss the chair. I miss the chair a lot.
Well, anyways, this one's really nice. It's not loud whatsoever.
That's good.
And I've got it sitting right next to my desk. So if I'm just in a meeting where I just need to listen, I don't have to participate. I've got a dedicated pair of Vans for me to just slip on real quick so I don't bust out my toes on the spiky pedals.
Metal pedals.
Yeah.
You like those they're like HM3s, you know.
Yeah, really heavy metal. But yeah, no, there's been like 3 or 4 times just this week I've just been like, okay, I'm on a meeting. I'm going to hop on the bike for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And really, I can't do more than 20 minutes right now because it's been a long quarantine. I've lost all of the shape I was in previously.
And I'll say, like, biking for a long period of time when you're not going anywhere is really not a ton of fun. It's like when I was running 3 or 4 times a week, and I was just continuously trying to get my 5K time down
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't want to be on the treadmill for that long.
Yep.
It's like, let me just get this over with. I'll still get my 5K in. I'll still get my some calories burned.
Faster you run, the faster it's over.
Yeah, that's the gist of it. I'm actually getting back into running because I've signed up for, I think I said the Keep the Beat Running Club 5K on December 5th. I think there's still some slots open for that. But you get a shirt, it's a virtual 5K, you uh run it on your own time, you time it, you submit your time via like Strava or I think I'll be doing the Withings app because I have a Withings smartwatch. But
Nice.
I'm looking forward to it. But it does, like, I ran 5K yesterday, and it was not as fast as my previous times have been, unfortunately. But I also am more active during the day on a daily basis because I have a standing desk now.
Nice.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
electronic. Let's see if my webcam stays on when I.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Uh-oh.
Woo! Now
And
I'm
then don't
standing
you
up.
have like a balance something?
Yeah, let me grab it. It's pretty funny, the balance board. I usually use the balance board the first part of the day, and then I have kind of this wiggle stool.
A wiggle
Okay,
stool?
Carrie, did you hear that?
I did
Carrie,
hear that.
are you okay? All right. Are you mad because the door's closed? Okay, but you're fine.
That is not a happy cat sound.
Okay, you know what? Let me just open the door for you, kitty. Come on, you're all right.
Emily
Go get
has
it. Go
left the
get
chat.
it. Go on.
Is it one of those situations where the cat's like, I want out? And you open the door, it just stares at you and
It was for a minute. Well, the thing is, because I just assembled this desk, the room's a bit of a mess. And because some of the old desk stuff is kind of sitting around. And a lot of it's on the little love chair I keep in here. And sorry, now I have to readjust this. And I feel very awkward talking actively and being on this balance board, but
do you feel like
so she somehow got to the top of the love seat and then was like, and I don't know how to get down. I think that was the big part of the yowling. That's the most we've ever had her on the podcast, though, Princess.
Yep. I haven't hardly seen my cats this morning, but that's because I refuse to feed them in the mornings, and so they just finally stopped bothering me.
That's smart. I was trying to teach Carrie for a minute to because we do Carrie want a cookie and then she meows. Carrie wants scratches and then she meows.
Mm-hmm.
So I briefly tried to do Carrie want breakfast, and then I was like, you know what? I don't want her meowing at me because she wants food in the morning. I'm just gonna feed her.
Yeah, I let the other adult members of the household be responsible for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
That was part of the living arrangement.
Yeah, man. Now people can see exactly how far up my pedal shelving goes.
Oh yeah, you've got more than me. I've picked up a couple of shelves,
Yeah,
and I just like I'm looking at my wall. I'm like, I don't know. They stick out. I mean, I could probably put them behind the guitars, kind of like what you've got,
you can fit them behind the necks very easily.
but
Yeah,
we'll see if I get around to it. Sounds like a lot of
yeah.
effort,
I mean, it's not. It's just doing it
and then I'd have to admit that I don't have as many pedals as you.
yet. Yet. I just got this one, the new Seth's Fuzz.
Nice. And it's
Yeah.
pink.
It is pink, and it has, do you know what that is?
Is that a optical sensor?
It is an optical sensor on a fuzz, so
All
I,
right.
again, don't know what any of the knobs do because they're all labeled SEVs, but there's
Classic.
also toggles. Classic Brian from Bookworm Effects. He's my favorite builder, I'm just gonna say it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yes, but I need to just, speaking of just doing the things, I need to film some demos today, I need to edit some demos. Uh, family was in town for a whole week, so I fell a little behind, which was fine. It was actually a pretty welcome break. But I'm gonna get back on that horse.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, start doing the things again. Working through the backlog. It's all good, all good. Man. So any gear news this week we want to talk about?
I mean, the gears on my bike are a good start.
Yeah.
There's the reverb.com for the pedal movie. They did the two releases last week. And
Yeah.
I fully intended on picking up the Earthquaker devices, and believe it or not, accidentally purchased the Chase Bliss ZVEX.
Well, accidentally in that you were trying to help me out because it wasn't going through on my end.
Yeah, no, like the website, like
So I wanted one of each, and then you ordered one of each. At the same moment, my order went through.
Oh yeah, because I ordered what I ordered. So I put in 3 separate orders that morning. I put in an Earthquaker for myself, and then right after that, you were saying you were having a hard time getting it through. So I ordered an Earthquaker for you, just like pay me back.
Mhm. Paid
And
you
then
back immediately.
yeah, you paid me back so fast. I ended up using that money to pay for the ZVEX right after, because it hit my PayPal account immediately, and it's like, you've got $200 or whatever. I'm like, cool, we'll put that towards the ZVEX, because it wasn't going through for you.
Right.
Um, and then like I remember you sent me the message saying, "Wait, mine just went through, abort, abort." And I'm like, "Oh," and I looked over it, and then poop, mine went through like the moment after you sent that. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, my options are to cancel the order, or I mean, probably should have canceled it because I don't need it, and I kind of need that money for other things, and now it's tied up in a pedal.
Well, you can still cancel it because I think they were doing returns, no questions
They are doing
asked.
returns, no question, so I still could. And so, admittedly, the thoughts crossed my mind that I could play it for an hour and then send it back.
I mean, that would probably be fun.
Um,
And then you might decide to keep it, but
what's happened instead is got connected to a guy who is a huge fan, isn't going to flip it for any amount of crazy money. Who just It's a long story, but sounds like the guy slept in and missed it and was super bummed about it. And a mutual friend who I fully trust connected us and said, "Hey, if you're going to sell it, you should sell it to this guy. He really deserves it." So I'm doing that
for
instead of
cost, I
sending it.
assume.
Yep, selling it for cost. I'm not losing any money on it. I was like, "Hey, if I can just play it for a couple of days, then I'll ship it your way happily. I'm not looking to make a dollar on this."
Yeah.
But I figured that's a good compromise of it was already paid for. It'd be a hassle to return. So I tell myself to justify it a little bit. And then I can
It's
help
fine.
get the pedal in the right hands.
Yeah, I accidentally ordered 3 and I did cancel 2 of those orders. But what happened was it would appear to time out and then it would say something like the quantity that you had in your cart is no longer available. Please
Yep.
change your quantity, which is very much sounds like it's sold out language. So I was like, ah, damn it. Then I went back. I'm like, well, let me try again. Then the same thing happened again. And then finally I got to an actual confirmation page. I'm like, sweet. And then I checked my email and I had ordered 3. So I immediately messaged and was like, can you just cancel 2 of these? Like,
Yep.
that was a big like big oops. So the people who got in when there was a stock of like 33 released the next day, you're welcome. Because 2 of those were mine. I'm so sorry.
I mean, it
It
happens.
wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. I
I
just
mean, for
wasn't checking my email.
for such a big release, I mean, the issues were pretty minimal, and Reverb had everything shipped out by the end of next day. 2 days to ship 2,000 units.
That's not true. Mine took a couple days.
I thought they were all. Anyways, I feel pretty okay with saying that Reverb knocked out of the park in terms of hosting and fulfilling it. All things
I mean, if
considered.
people are going to complain about the issues, I mean, that's a lot of traffic for any site at one time. Like major websites like Ticketmaster struggle to handle such large amounts of traffic at the same time, and the whole it's hard. It's hard to have things not crash, and I think that they did about as well as a website that's not really made for people to descend upon it in hordes of thousands at once.
Yep.
But
no, I'm really excited to get it. I know last week one of the things I said, which I would like to take a moment to fully recant, is I remember saying it's got to be more than just a fuzz factory, because if it's just a fuzz factory, I mean, why? And I feel like I've got egg on my face for that, because I mean, I don't have it in person yet, but I watched enough demos to look at this and get a sense of the feature set to go, huh? Yeah, that was dumb of me to say why just a fuzz face, because I'm looking at this and it's not just a fuzz face, but the
you were saying
ramping.
Fuzz Factory or Fuzz Face?
God,
You're tired. That's okay.
I am a little extra tired this week, more so than usual.
Yeah, I mean, you've been working that night shift.
Yeah, so I've been working the night shift, the day job, and I've got to flip tomorrow. I start at like 5:30 in the morning.
Oof,
So I tried to force myself to wake up early this morning, even though I couldn't sleep last night.
Cruel thing to do. When
It
you
happens.
when you work the morning shift, are you done by noonish?
Noon to 2 usually.
Okay.
Depends on how early I start, but somewhere in that ballpark.
Because I do the premieres of this at around noonish, 12 or 12:30, depending on my work schedule. If you want to join in,
I will check my schedule for Tuesday and see
Mhm.
what works out. Maybe I can work out a lunch break at that time. But anyway, so the Fuzz Factory. What I said last week, and I will own the fact that I said it, and the fact that I was wrong, is I said that if it's just a Fuzz Factory, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't seem like enough. And after looking at it, I'm like, no, that's more than enough. There's so much crammed into that.
Yeah.
I feel dumb. Like, I legitimately, like, as soon as I saw it drop, I'm like, wait, they really did? And I felt like I was going to hate it. And I'm like, I'm not going to enjoy playing it for like a couple of days before I ship it off. Like, I'm not going to fall in love. And I started watching the demos, like, wait, they included the fat fuzz factory? Okay. That's new. Or
And
not
then they
new.
have
I mean,
like an extra fat, don't they?
Yep, fat, extra fat. I'm like, those are like the limited edition fuzz factory, so that's like super cool. There's the filter, which I was thinking about it.
I'm gonna be doing the bounce on those filters,
I,
100%.
that seems like such a small thing to add, but it just completely changes the whole ball game there, because suddenly you've got like several pedals worth of effects all in one little unit, between the filter and the ramping that can be done.
Yeah.
Um,
Ramping or bouncing. I don't understand ramping as much, but I definitely like the bouncing. That's what I usually do on my Chase Bliss pedals.
the And then the other thing I was seeing is someone was trying to put together, for the feedback feature. Someone's trying to figure out the CC values, in one of the users groups for like to tune that, so you could, with a MIDI controller, like do like a theremin style,
Like
just
the
like letting
Futurist.
hands off, letting the pedal do itself.
That's freaking awesome.
Uh,
Oh, I did see this, but this is like a theremin too.
Yep. But I saw someone talking about it. I'm like, wait, that's just like the fuzz probe. It's the same concept.
The fuzz probe.
Because
I'm
you got
pointing
that.
to my fuzz probe for everybody who's listening at home.
You're gonna have to do a A/B demo between the two.
I know. I'm excited.
And
People,
since
though someone got mad at my fuzz probe demo and like, oh, another one where people just use their hands. Like, well, yeah.
you want to see my toes, And if the
Well, or
answer to
my
that's yes, I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with that.
Footopedia. That's a real website. Another podcast host for a podcast I listen to called My Favorite Murder. I'm pretty sure she's talked about finding out that her feet are on Footopedia. Oh, that just I think that broke you. Did that break you?
A little bit. I'm so torn. I try really hard to be committed to the idea that I don't have to like what everyone else likes, and if someone else likes something that I don't, that's okay.
I think it's okay as long as there's like consent involved. I'd be
Yeah,
really upset if like my feet without my knowledge appeared
yeah,
on
no,
some
that
random
part's
spank
definitely
website.
super not okay. Um, but so with consent, I'm still like, all right, Andrew, like, all right, man, like just let it go. It's not your problem. You don't have to do it. No one's making you.
Well, there's weirder stuff. I'm just gonna say.
Yes, I know that. I
I
you're
couldn't.
making me blush.
Are you serious? I can't
That
tell.
that just hit me like I'm a little tired, and then it just hit me with like several conflicting emotions. My brain's like, I don't know where to process first. I don't know where to go with this. I just kind of just hit the brick wall for a moment there. Sorry about
Well,
that.
let's just 180. Let's just put her in reverse.
Anyways, moving past the Fuzz Factory or the Bliss Factory rather. One more thing in the Bliss Factory. Because I got one and you got one, and I can hold on to it for up to a week or so before I have to send it off to the next guy. What I want to see you do is run the Bliss Factory and the Time Shadows in stereo with each other. So Time Shadow or Bliss Factory and either and yeah, so one of each pedal dedicated to the right and left. And I want to see
So,
what you
like
could do with
the
that.
EQD side on one and the DBA side on the other, and then two different Fuzz Factory settings.
Sure, that's a way to do it.
So you're gonna loan them both to me.
Yes, I'm going to loan them both to you for like a day.
Oh God, good luck with that. I'm just kidding. My next weekend's pretty empty. I would like to do some fun content.
My stuff isn't supposed to arrive till probably I think the day that this podcast comes out. So I'll play with it for a few days, and
I
then
think
I'll
mine is scheduled to arrive on Thursday. I will say Chase Bliss's shipping is always a little bit slow for me, but I don't even think they were the ones shipping it. I think it was
it
shipping
was,
from Chicago.
yeah, shipping from Chicago.
Yeah. Well, UPS, it's fine. I'm not in a rush. I have such a backlog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've got enough going on. What I'm excited for is next week is my last full week at my day job before I've got 2 weeks off.
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
good
Um,
time to have 2 weeks off where we're about to all go back into quarantine. Well, not that most of us ever left it, to be completely honest.
to be fair, that is true. Um, yeah, it's not. I have this entire quarantine. I have done an outdoor bar once at a brewery.
I've done that once or twice.
So I did that once with Cam from Gibbs Sunday and Tone Throne, and then I did for one time and one time only. I did in person dining, and that's
Inside?
inside, and that scared the heck out of me.
I did it once and was like the whole time like this was a bad why did
It was a bad choice.
I felt so uneasy for the next 2 weeks. I'm like, why did that wasn't worth
I
it.
couldn't finish my food. I got like 5 bites in. I'm just like so nervous. Like just mask
Put my
back
mask
on.
back on. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. No amount
Outside
of
dining I've done.
I was just say there's no amount of plexiglass barriers that make me feel comfortable with that. Just
No,
not worth
and
the risk.
it's not. And I love supporting restaurants. That's why Rick and I do take out as much as we do. But
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, we do take out once, maybe twice a week.
No.
And try to do what we can, and we make sure to target to minority-owned restaurants as well as restaurants that we specifically don't want going under.
Yeah, those are the same column for us because our two favorite local restaurants are called Luna Azul and Tacos and Beer, and those are both family owned, minority owned
Yeah.
businesses, and they are the best.
Yeah. So, anyways, before we fully transition to our topic, I guess.
Can I talk about Discord?
Yes.
And Patreon. So, if you've been listening to us for a while, you've probably heard us talk about our Patreon. It's a great way to support us for as little as $1 a month. And previously at $5, you got access to the super secret group chat we had on Facebook. But as we grew and got more patrons, that became really, really difficult to like follow and manage and figure out. So finally, I convinced Andrew. Actually, I think I just did it and started inviting people and said, we're
Yep.
doing this now. And we started it on Discord. So now our super secret Patreon Discord exists. And for the rest of the year, I've dropped the qualifications from $5 to $1. So if you become a patron of ours, even at the $1 level through 2020, you'll be forever grandfathered in as long as you're a supporter of any amount to our super secret Patreon Discord. And it's a lot easier to manage the conversations. We have a channel for memes. We have a channel for music talk, like listening to music, and we have a making music talk. We have a car talk because a couple people like to talk about the cars, not the band, but their cars. And food, booze, all kinds of things that our patrons like talking about. It kind of looks like Andrew's in Facebook Messenger right now.
I am.
Mm-hmm. Oh, are you shutting down the old Facebook group chat?
I am.
Yeah, rest in peace. And if
Rest in
you're listening
peace.
to this and you're a patron and you have not found your Discord invite yet, please, please let us know. Email us on the Patreon platform. It's easiest for me to keep track of it. And is a guaranteed way for you to not go to my message request on Facebook. Please stop messaging me on Facebook, people I don't know. Stop messaging me on Facebook, people I don't know. I don't read those. I don't read them. And then I feel bad when I look at my message requests after 3 months and there are all these people I don't know messaging me questions. I'm like, I am available in a lot of places, friends. I'm happy to respond in a lot of places. Facebook isn't the one. Facebook, I just don't check it. It's nothing personal. I just don't check my message requests because they're usually bad.
Yeah, I don't get tons of them these days. I've received a couple that have been like really heartwarming
Yeah.
from folks, but
Yeah, I'd say mine are about 30% nice, just like no need to respond, but like I like what you're doing. 50% of them are like asking a question, which would probably be better asked like in the YouTube comments or a place I actually check. And then the rest are calling me bad words. It's amazing. All right.
well,
And
anyways, I'm currently breaking everyone's heart. It's really, honestly, it's kind of like I've been really loving Discord since the move this week. Not gonna lie, it's actually been a huge upgrade. But there's still a part of me. It's like I feel bad deleting the old. Currently, it's named as the Get Offset Super Spooky Patreon chat. The name's changed so many times. There's been so many
it
great
was
jokes.
originally Chatty Cats.
The emoji changes and some of the conversations had in this group have been phenomenal. I feel like I'm like setting a kid off to college. Like,
I mean, cool.
yeah. Anyways, all of that to say, I'm sad to see it go, but also very excited to be in the Discord chat already and really enjoying that.
Yeah, it's a good chat. By the way, have you noticed that my lighting is better? Probably not.
I didn't specifically, but what did you do different?
Rick installed. Well, we'd had basically one of my lights burned out. It was one of those weird domed lights, so you would have had to have
Uh-huh.
like taken off the whole dome and then
Yep.
replace the light bulb. And Rick got me just a brand new overhead light. It's got like those Edison bulbs in it. It's a slightly more yellow kind of color, which is good because normally this room is very blue. But it's also going to be a lot easier to change those light bulbs because you're not going to have to undo the whole thing. And it feels a little bit less like fluorescent bulbs. It's warmer, it's brighter. It had been so dark in here for so long, and now it's winter.
Yeah, winter's going to be rough.
Yeah. So Rick was so intent on fixing the bulbs because he knew I wanted to film some demos today. He's like, I need to install it Saturday because I know you're going to film demos on Sunday. And he by the time the order was ready, it was dark, but I was like, you can wait till tomorrow, sweetheart. It's totally fine. He's like, no. He puts on our little joyful headlamp.
Nice.
And just in absolute darkness installs this light. And it was pretty amazing. And he did a really great job. So props to partners who are partners.
Husband of the year?
Every year. 6 years running.
I'm coming up on 5 with Melissa, and pretty excited, although realizing that we'll probably have very limited options for celebrating.
Yeah.
But that sort of almost brings us into our topic, but first we should do sponsors.
This week's episode of the Get Offset podcast is sponsored by DistroKid. DistroKid makes it affordable and easy to be prolific on the internet with your music because for just $20 a year, you can release unlimited music to Spotify, Tidal, Google Play, Amazon if you want to, dozens of channels, and they're adding more every single day. You're in full control of your distribution, of your money, and DistroKid has a ton of cool features that many of which are completely free to DistroKid users, like the meme generator, the wheel of playlists. I think that now they have a database of playlist curators on Spotify if you really want to chase those Spotify playlists, which is understandable. A lot of people do.
Hashtag exposure.
You've died of exposure. Yeah, but oh my god, I could talk. We could do a whole episode again where I bitch about Spotify because now they're doing. Sorry, listen. If you love music and you want to pay for a subscription to a music streaming service, Tidal pays at least twice as much to artists what Spotify pays. And Tidal is actually owned by artists. Millionaire artists, sure, but musicians nonetheless. It's like the difference between old school ASCAP and old school BMI. Like, BMI was broadcasters, and ASCAP was the actual writers. But for some reason, they both exist. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about that. That doesn't have anything to do with DistroKid, but I personally use DistroKid now for both my personal music and for Sunday Crush. And I just, after having been on TuneCore for years and years and years, I really am impressed with DistroKid.
All of that to say, you know who you are. I'm going to look deep into the camera. In fact, take my glasses off so you can get a better look in my eyes as I tell you this genuinely. I know you've been sitting on that EP that you've been scared to release, and I gotta be the one to say it. The world needs to hear it. Finish the EP and sign up on DistroKid. Just put it out there. It makes it as painless as possible. You don't have to spend 5 days uploading it to every single option, stressed out every single time that people are going to hate you and reject you, because that's not true. People love you. You just need to accept that. And 2, if it makes it that fast, it just rips the Band-Aid. You get it out there and just wait for all of the positive affirming messages heading your way as people listen to your music. So sign up on DistroKid today with that EP that you, let's be honest, it's finished. You're just scared to release it. All right.
Ship it.
Candid moment over, glasses back on. So now you know I'm absolutely full of it the rest of the episode.
Nice. So we actually had kind of touched on, I feel like we were getting very close to talking about the topic.
Mm-hmm.
But we're still in COVID. Yep. I think I would argue we're probably still in the first wave. And now the first wave is just going to get bad again. Some may call it the second wave, but I
It's the
mean,
second wave.
we're recording this about an hour before our state governor is going to enact new sanctions, I guess, new rules
Sanctions makes it sound like we're like a tin pot dictator in a foreign land who's abusing our citizens.
Well, basically, we've been in this phase program. We've been failing the phase program. King County's been stuck in phase 2, and we are not meeting our goals for the most part. And I think it's fair to assume that things are about to shut down a little bit again, and they need to, apparently. Like, listen, I love that my gym is open, but I sure as hell ain't going to my gym right now. No, it's crazy. I walked by it the other night, and people were in my gym, like just working out. They had masks on and they were far apart, but I'm like, ooh, I don't feel good about that.
Well, yeah, it definitely wigs me out. I'm like, you mean to tell me that a disease that's transmitted via breath is not going to transmit in a place where everyone is breathing as heavily as humanly possible?
Yeah. Or singing or playing saxophones and stuff like that.
Yep.
We've played some socially distant gigs. The last one was over 2 weeks ago, and it'll probably be the last one for a while. But like, I have friends who have COVID right now. I have had friends who have had COVID the past couple of months, several months. We've had patrons who have had COVID.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's really happening to people, and
It is. No, I got an email this week from our church, our head pastor saying, "Hey, I thought the whole church should be looped in on this, but we had 2 members attend our in-person service with COVID. They tested positive on Monday, so we're now letting everyone." We're letting everyone know who is there, and we're also letting the rest of the congregation know out of a sense of transparency, so you can make the right decisions. And I mean, I appreciate the transparency, but the other part of me is like, it happened. Oh no! And now it's like a 3-week hold your breath and wait to see if any of the older folks who attend service get it, and then have another 3 weeks of fear of what that's going to do to them. And it's like, no, I don't like this game. This is the slowest train wreck I've ever seen. And I can't peel my eyes away from it. It just puts me like this eternal hypervigilant anxiety ridden state.
No, I get that. But to get back into the topic, or like go into the topic in the first place, live music was the first thing that shut down and is probably going to be the last thing that comes back.
Yep.
We know that Pfizer, on their own, outside of this Operation Warp Speed thing, has come up with a vaccine that they claim is 90% effective, which is enormous, because I don't even think the seasonal flu vaccine is usually that effective.
It is enormous.
It is enormous, and it might be available starting in April, is what Fauci says. Might.
We'll see. I'm choosing to remain hopeful.
You have to. You have to hold on hope.
But again, it's also like the slowest train wreck I've ever seen, because it's like, I know that it's got to hit some more trials. It's just through the first round, so it's looking promising. Yeah. But there's still a lot of hurdles to get through.
There are. Let's not pretend there aren't. But we want to tie this back to live music, because Ticketmaster the last couple weeks. Let me see when this article came out on Billboard. This. Sweet Jesus, why is it loud? Okay. This was on 11/11. Oh, isn't that lucky? So on Monday before 11/11, that's when Pfizer's early COVID-19 results were announced, and Ticketmaster has been working on a framework for post-pandemic fan safety that uses smartphones to verify fans' vaccination status or whether they've tested negative for COVID-19 within a 24 to 72 hour window. And though I love live music and I love vaccinations and I love not spreading COVID, this feels a little Big Brother to me. And I don't really, and they say they're not going to have like a database or anything, and I do believe them. But I don't like it. It just doesn't hit me right in the stomach.
Well, I mean, historically, medical information is all like, it's all protected under HIPAA. It's no one else's business. I mean, if, for instance, if I were to have AIDS, that's only someone else's business if I'm sexually involved with them. And so that's kind of,
Or
or
going to donate blood or
exactly. So then those are the only instances where anyone needs to know. And at that point, it's really, I mean, that's pretty minimal. And all of a sudden, we're in this situation where everyone needs to know, like collective, like the world just like if you test positive, you need to tell everyone you've seen the last like 3 weeks. You need to tell everyone you come in contact after that. I mean, there's suddenly this your personal medical information is wide open for the world, out of a sense of necessity. You shouldn't be lying about it. You shouldn't be like, oh, I was wearing a mask when I went over to their house, so it should be fine. Like you've got to be honest with it in the sense of like personal contact tracing and whatnot.
yeah.
And that feels so weird because it goes against like this a whole lot of what we've all really internalized of like my medical information is for me to have, and if I choose to share it, that's up to me. It's like I mean I had surgery a couple of years ago. I had heart surgery, and I could have said absolutely nothing, but it was really important for me, and I wanted to share that it was successful with all my friends and family who had been and praying, sending good vibes, all of that. Like that was really important for me, but that was ultimately my choice. And so the notion that all of a sudden like you were required to share that information out feels really wrong at first glance.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. And I kind of feel like if that's what it has to be, then maybe it's not okay for live music to come back yet. Because when you look at the places where live music has come back, New Zealand, China, Thailand, these are places that have gotten a hold on the breakouts of COVID. There's no COVID in New Zealand, albeit they're an island.
That does help quite a bit.
But I was reading my copy of Billboard magazine today, and I just want to share something because I didn't realize that China and Taiwan were having a live music resurrection. So this was let me just read the beginning of this. Frustrated by the shutdown of live music in the United States this summer, the dance music duo Buttes made a radical move. The pair left California and moved to China. After arriving in Shanghai in early August, they quarantined for 14 days and they got to work arranging concerts in a country that had tamed the spread of coronavirus enough to make touring possible again. Since then, they've played 13 club shows and 3 festivals. So while US and European tour schedules for 2021 are riddled with uncertainty, dates in China are filling up fast. Like it'll look like someone a CEO of AEG Asia said for the next year, our calendar bookings looks like a normal year. A couple other interesting stats. October 1 to 8, there were more than 4,000 live performances. That's the course of 1 week. Over 20 of them for up to 10,000 attendees. And to explain how enormous that is, that's a 130% increase for the same period in 2019 when there wasn't a big pandemic that people knew about.
Because if you're in a place where it's suddenly safe to be out and about, which I admit I am skeptical on, given that China hasn't exactly given us a whole lot of reason to trust what their publicity says about.
No, but to be clear, this also talks about a couple of instances where the stages were built, the tickets were sold, and then they canceled shows because of one reported case of an asymptomatic virus character. Like they have been shutting things down completely when there's a known case.
Sure, I just want to be as clear as I can that I admit that I have my hesitancy there, but
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we should trust China for their word. Um, but at the same, but
it's
Taiwan,
interesting to see it come back though. Yeah, Taiwan, New Zealand. I was on a conference call with some
Vietnam.
folks in New Zealand. Was it last week? And I was just sitting here like 10 guys sitting across the table from each other, like masks off, like just having a good time with their brilliant New Zealand accents. And I'm just like, come on, I want to be there.
Yeah. I think it was Rat Boys who we had on the podcast. They did this big 24-hour stream for charity, and they had the Beths from New Zealand on, and they were just all there together, and they've like been playing shows and touring.
Yep.
And also, if you haven't listened to the Beths, do that. If you haven't listened to Rat Boys, do that. I'm just gonna say that. But I don't see it coming back until there's a vaccine that people have taken and cases go away, basically. Like, but I don't think that Ticketmaster trying to expedite things by enacting these I'll just say it, Big Brother-esque things. I don't know if people will feel comfortable doing that. And
I don't think
I don't
anyone's
know
going to
what
feel
people are
comfortable doing that, but I don't. At the same
no.
time, honestly, like for me personally, if I got vaccinated and I was trying to attend a concert in May or whatever, and like, well, if I'm vaccinated, I know I can't carry it, et cetera, et cetera. Shoot, I'll give my information. I just want to go see a concert. Like, let me in.
Yeah. No,
It's been so long.
Yeah, and it really, really, really sucks. But I also know that there were studies that came out that showed if you have a concert hall, an indoor concert hall, then everyone wears masks, everyone stays seated, and there's good ventilation, the risk of transmission is extremely low even without a vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the normal, like, environment.
Well, yeah. Good luck, especially like in a standing room only type venue, telling everyone
Yeah.
stay 6 feet away. And then it's like, well, that means 4 people can be up on the rails.
Yeah, and that also means like you either have to charge a lot, like 4 times per ticket, or everybody loses money. Like concerts cost money, money to
Right.
put on, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you have like the way a normal like established band works is they book a gig, they get a guarantee. That guarantee is usually a sellout times ticket price, and then if it doesn't sell well, sometimes there are renegotiations. Um, but that guarantee becomes really risky even more risky for the venues. So then, if the venues don't want to do these guarantees, then the band takes the risk. And if there's not touring, because I think that, so there's another article in Billboard about, with an interview with Steven Severin, who owns Numos, Barboza. He created the Seattle Nightlife and Music Association. They're the Keep Music Live Washington organization.
Mm-hmm.
He talks about how bands probably still aren't going to go on tour, so it kind of seems like there's going to be a lot of he said, okay, so here's a question. If acts aren't touring, do you expect that to be regional performers playing all those shows that had mentioned in a previous question?
Mm-hmm.
And Steven said, I was looking at my local band database and I haven't booked for he hasn't personally booked for 3 years. I'm already a bit of a dinosaur there. As I'm going through my list, a lot of those bands are gone. These aren't the people who are making it outside of Seattle, but they are the ones that can bring 75 people on a Monday night. They aren't going to be here. I see a lot of bands splitting. Anybody where there was a chance that they were going to split pre-COVID, they're done. I'm sure my talent buyer is already ahead on who's still around. I'm curious how many of them are going to be playing. Not exactly an optimistic answer.
No.
No. But he hasn't personally booked in a couple of years. So, like, he admits that.
We'll see what they I don't know. I think that's definitely a good point where like even if you can get people from the local community to sign up for it, trying to convince a band to get up there and then do that across several states, that's a very different proposition. That seems a lot more dangerous for the bands.
And for like local bands, you can't play locally more than like once a month. You can't.
Right.
You can do like support stuff, but you can't headline a show more than once a month in a normal climate. You
So
can't do a live streaming gig more than once a month typically because people aren't going to come back for the second, third, fourth ones, especially a band like mine where we have like an album's worth of material and we play it every single show. It's great when we're on tour. It's great when we're supporting people who've never heard of us. But like we're not like Bruce Springsteen and can do like, or we're not even like the Hold Steady where they can do a 3-night stand. They have enough variation in their catalog to play different shows each night that still have like a couple fan favorites in them. You know
Sure.
what I mean?
Yeah. So here's an interesting thought I just had as far as live music returning. So if you've got a whole bunch of so if you've got a drastically reduced band database for all local bands, so you've got less people to work with, so there's less competition. And if you've got venue owners that are saying, "Hey guys, like I really need you to perform if my venue's going to stay up. Please, please, please come perform." Are venues going to are we going to see a sharp decline in the whole "we'll pay you in exposure bucks"? Uh,
Decline in it? I don't think we'll see a decline in it. I also don't think it'll be so much like we're going to pay you an exposure. It'll be more like, will you please donate your work to this cause? Because
oh
because
yeah,
because it's an ecosystem, right? You can't if rabbits become extinct, then foxes become extinct. You know what I mean? It's that kind
yeah.
of thing.
No, I mean that makes sense. I was just trying to think through the scenario because I imagine that that's got to change the dynamic. I mean, the whole dynamic of everything's changed. So I was just doing the little thought experiment of how does this change the dynamic of whether or not bands get paid. But I guess the please donate your time to save the venue.
Because
I
musicians do that all the time. I do that all the time.
Yeah, I guess I see that. There's just the other part of me is like, oh, but this is like a great chance for musicians to have leverage for once. But no, that makes
But
sense.
there's no money to pay us with, and we kind of know that. It's like
Yeah.
it's like Sunday Crush hasn't gotten paid for any of these live gigs that we've done. But also we know that it's expensive to for the venues, Big Building and Black Labs galleries to do this streaming setup to bring in even one person to set up a couple cameras and run the
Yep.
sound. That costs money,
It does.
and um, we can get tips via Twitch bits or super chats or just Venmo. Like that's kind of the money that we're making on those live gigs because there's no money because normally you play a show, you make the money from the ticket sales as the artist, the bar makes the the venue makes the money from the bar and probably taking a cut of your merch if they're like most venues in the world. But it's it's hard. It's just kind of like when there's no money, but you need these venues to exist because of places like Hotel Vegas, Numos, Connor Byrne, um, Bogarts, Mercy Lounge, The Basement. If these places don't exist in a year, then where the hell are these bands going to play? One of the greatest things about Seattle, as far as musician development, is the enormous quantity of small neighborhood venues like
Yep.
Tim's Tavern, Sunset, Connor Byrne, like that they formerly Cafe Racer, that they exist and musicians can work things out in front of people, get feedback, and it fosters creativity and it fosters a scene. So if those small venues especially don't exist in a year or two, unless someone steps up to fill them, which they probably won't, it
Yeah,
takes
I saw
decades.
it. No, it totally does. I know. Down in LA, I saw Chain Reaction was threatening to go away, which is another classic venue.
Yeah.
Arguably an institution just for, especially for the pop punk metalcore genre in particular, just for that scene. It, quintessential venue. The idea that that could go away, um, was just like I saw the article. I'm like, oh shoot, this is getting more real. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Doesn't feel good, does it?
no, it doesn't feel good, and that's part of why I'm like, Big Brother or not, like, sign me up. As soon as I'm vaccinated, I want to go to 3 shows a week for 3 months.
Yeah.
I don't even care if I like the band. I just want to pay the money for the ticket and just go and just
You miss it.
Um,
I
I
miss it.
I miss it fierce. Man, I was talking to someone who was like, as soon as I feel like I'm gonna cry when I get vaccinated. Partly because I hate needles, and partly because I'm like, that's my ticket. It feels like a ticket to freedom.
Yeah.
Um, to know that I can do stuff without endangering my family. That's always a nice thought.
Yeah. No, that's a nice thought.
Yeah. No, it's
Not
been
endangering your family is a very nice thought.
no. I'm like a week and a half out from when I had that in person dining experience, and so I've got like another week before I'm like, all right, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
Just that lingering every time you go out kind of thing.
I didn't realize you'd done that recently.
I did, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did.
Yeah. I mean, I just had family in town, and I I mean, I have been living like fairly like a recluse except for the live streaming gig, and um I know my parents have as well. Of course they did just come in on a plane, and it's just kind of like it's I mean, I offered to get a COVID test before they came in and they said no, it's fine. I think they didn't want to know. It's just that kind of thing. And I just do want to stress that we shouldn't ostracize anybody or put blame on anybody who does come down with COVID. Because that's just going to keep people from getting tested, from finding out, from getting vaccinated.
Sure. Yeah. No, I just want people to be happy, healthy, and safe, and
Yeah.
that's definitely a tough ask this year. But I'm hopeful 2021 is going to be a very big change from what 2020 has been.
Yeah, these
Because
last 4 years have been kind of like just starting in 2016, not even like talking about the election. Not even talking about the election. I just feel like
2020 like just took that up a notch. Like poured napalm on a small campfire. Um,
dude, it's
no,
been but like
I'm
I don't
looking at
know.
I'm it's not like so legitimately like of course the superstitious like thoughts in the back of my head. I'm like that means things will be good when 2020 is over, right? And then the idea that all of this is going to be
That's
contained
not how time works. Yeah.
contained into a single year on the Gregorian calendar. Like we all know that that's not actually how it works, but it feels like a nice thought. That feels like a
Yeah.
nice thought in the sense like it's got to get to January. And the other part of me is like that existential dread of like that means I got to get to January. Like who's going to die? Like last
Hey, whoa, let's not.
so yeah,
Let's not.
I've got my short list of people that I'm staring at. I'm like it 2020 is not the year to take them. Right now my short list is Chuck Norris, Betty White, and the Queen of England. One of those three goes. That's it. I'm done.
Well, I mean, Chuck Norris would surprise me, but we have to remember that Betty White and the Queen of England are in their 90s. Actually, how
Yes.
old is Queen Elizabeth? How
I
old?
That's a great question.
Her mom made it to like 104. She's 94 years old.
I mean, when you're
Mm.
weighted on hand and foot for your entire life,
Don't do her like that, man. Like, I'm sorry, I don't think you get it that far. Not.
I think that's got to be a big contributor to living that long.
I think it's genetics. She what about 14? How long is she when did she become queen?
Oh, like the 40s, I thought. I really
Well, no,
should know
the
this better.
40s was her dad because that was World War II. I just don't know when he died. Yes. Oh, 1952. I
Well,
think
there you
she
go.
might have been she was young, so she's been queen for a very long time.
Just shy of a 70-year reign.
That's pretty astounding. But her mother, let me see. Da, 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 da. Her mother lived to oh my gosh, where is her? 101.
Dang.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we will
So
see.
you might have a good 7 she might have a good 7 years left in her.
I don't know. Anyways, that's my watch list.
Charles is
I
never going to be king, is my guess.
that poor dude.
You know what? I don't want to say anything, but there's a podcast, and we'll wrap it up because it's an hour. But there's a podcast called "You're Wrong About," and they just did a big series on Princess Diana of Wales. Charles kind of sucks. I don't think he needed that series, like their series, to.
Yeah.
But he kind of married her because if he didn't marry her, it would have potentially ruined her reputation. He had affairs. She had affairs. They all had affairs. But he also said he didn't want to be the only, Prince of Wales to not have a mistress or something like that.
Right.
I just, whatever. Whatever. I don't really care much about the royal family. I feel like we fought a whole war to not have to care about the royal family.
I mean, sure.
As Andrew furiously texts. It's okay, I do it too.
No, I was just thinking, Prince Philip cracks me up because there's a part of me that's just like, I look at the guy like you just have to wonder. He's like in the back of his head still saying like, and I just can't wait to be king.
Oh, I mean, he'll never be king. That's the point. He can never be king.
Queen Elizabeth looks great for her age, and I look at him. I'm like, dude, you could have this guy walk onto the set of The Walking Dead and not need makeup. The poor guy just has aged so much. I mean, have you seen photos of him recently?
Age, but he's still alive. Like,
why? I don't know. He looks a little repossessed, reanimated, even.
Oh, he is the prince consort and not the king, is because the title of queen can be used to either describe the ruling monarch or the more ceremonial meaning, the wife of a monarch, but king can't be used that way.
Gotcha.
I just don't understand it. I don't care.
I don't
care.
I don't entirely understand. All I know, the whole point of bringing that up is I've got this constant sense of like what's happening next. It's 2020. And then the realization started to hit me like that doesn't end just because 2020 ends. It's just been a rough go for the whole world. So waiting to see where this goes, but
and we have to work together to make it go somewhere.
We do have to work together.
If you can get the vaccine, I know a lot of people aren't super comfortable with vaccines.
I'm just going to say it. RFID chips do not work the way people think they work.
Yeah.
They can't control your brain. That's not a thing.
But you can pay for your beer at Bonnaroo with them.
Sort of. But they're not computers. They're just a little chip. They've got a set amount of information on them. They don't do any data processing. They don't. I mean, it's just it's equivalent to getting a tattoo. I'm sure that's not helping the
or microchipping your dog.
Yes, exactly. Where it's got your phone number on it and your address, and it's the same thing. No one is trying to control it. Not that I'm really terribly worried that anyone listening to this podcast feels that way, but if you have a family member, just know that RFID chips do not work the way that a lot of people assume they work. It's static information. If it's not plugged into a power supply, it's not computing anything.
That's true.
And that's going to control your brain.
Please stay home. Please wear your masks. Please understand that we're all in this together and that it is indeed your decision on whether or not you want to do these acts of love for your fellow human beings. It's not about fear. It's not about control. It's about doing the right thing. It's about being good to your brothers and your sisters on this planet. And
for sure,
sometimes we have to do things we don't love doing because it's the right thing to do,
Yep.
Sorry,
tough luck.
I never know if we're going to lose subscribers doing this. I don't think we lose them on the podcast, but I will say I think I released the episode on iTunes and it's like up doop, 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 on Tuesdays. It's like Tuesdays I lose a couple and then I just get new ones.
Yep.
It's because I think it actually kind of evens out on the day.
Hey, so when are we gonna get a guitar pick ASMR video.
I don't have any guitar picks right next to me.
No, like you need to like do like a full demo.
No.
Like set up the camera on the desk with picks and just like slowly pour them out. And
if you're a maker of guitar picks and you would like for me to do this and include your product, please let me know. You can hit us up at getoffsetpodcast.com. Speaking of which, please like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Consider supporting us on Patreon if you like this content. Again, you get special access to things through the end of the year at the $1 level. That's all it takes now to be part of our
level.
Discord. We have merch at getoffsetpodcast.com/shop.
Yep.
And did I miss anything? Oh, we have Facebook pages and Facebook groups.
Oh, if you have merch ideas as well, I think we're overdue for adding new merch to the shop. So if you've got ideas for merch, send either me or Emily a message.
Send Andrew a message.
Send me a message because I do the merch design.
He designs the merch, not because I am.
Yep.
Yeah, because he designs the merch.
No, seriously, you can email us at getoffset@gmail.com.
Don't.
No?
God, okay. Why did you do that?
Okay, bleep. Well, that's just what the contact is, right? Okay, bleep that out.
But that's the reason we have a contact form and don't whatever.
Anyways, reach out on the contact form, preferably. If you have to message me on social media, know that I might be delayed in responding because it'll probably
message the Get Offset Instagram.
That's probably that's the one. Message the Get Offset. One. Yep. There we go.
Or leave a comment in the Facebook group, Get Offset Podcast Facebook group.
Anyways, call me, beat me if you want to reach me. And I would love to hear your ideas for merch, and so I can start getting something together for a new release on that.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah. Well, to everybody watching, thanks for watching.
And to everyone listening, you should be watching. But I also understand.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for understanding.
I should have committed. Okay, let me try that again. Because I need to really commit to the judginess on this. To this. If I really
not everybody can watch. Let's just keep that in mind.
Right. But if I really commit to being super judgy on this, it makes it seem comical. Because I'm not actually being judgy here. Because I understand that not everyone can watch. But let me try this again for the sake of being extra judgy. For everyone listening to this, you should be watching. All right. I think that was judgy.
I don't care how people consume content.
I don't particularly.
I know you're doing a bit. Andrew's doing a bit.
I'm really excited that we've got options for people who want to watch and for people who want to listen.
And for people who want to read, because I put the transcript on the website every week.
Jerry Falwell Jr. can watch, and
oh, that broke me.
There we go. Payback.
Oh, no. Oh.
And everyone else can. I don't know if anyone else wants to listen to that. Anyways, all of that to say, thank you for consuming content in whatever.
Okay. Thanks for trying to understand. Until next time, I've been Emily.
And I am Andrew.
Goodbye.
Bye.